Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm Hawa Salman. Welcome to Health Matters, now between right up until 5 o'clock, inshallah. Please stay with us. We are discussing Ramadan during this COVID-19 environment, as well as the fact that you are in lockdown. It is day 27 that you find yourself in lockdown on this 22nd day of April. Shukran so much for joining us. And do stay with us as we'll be talking to the fasting doctor and our local nutritionist, Elenia. So please do WhatsApp us any questions, comments and queries during the show, and we will sort of understand where you are coming from if you have questions with regards to fasting and Ramadan. But now let's connect with our doctor, Dr. Andre KRUGER, the fasting doctor. Welcome to the airwaves of Health Matters, Dr. KRUGER.
I really appreciate your welcome.
Tell us a bit about your...
Just to mention one thing quickly,
Yes.
It's the 22nd of April today. That is today my 64th birthday.
Oh, congratulations. A happy birthday to you. So glad you've mentioned it, and thank you for spending your time with us and our viewers. We appreciate it. May the Almighty bless you with many more healthy, good years.
Thank you. Of course, the congratulations should go to my mother. It was her achievement after all.
Of course, we often forget to actually wish the mothers who gave birth on that very day 60 odd years ago. Dr. KRUGER, we appreciate your time. Please tell us a bit about yourself and let the listeners get to know you.
Well, I myself have been practicing at the Hoogland Health Hydro for the past almost 40 years. Since I completed my medical studies in 1985. So I became interested in fasting after seeing the effects that they have on people. I've never seen an adverse effect. Under my supervision, the longest fast I have personally supervised was only 45 days. But when we talk of fasting, of course, we mean a period without food, without any taste of any sort for longer than about 30 hours. Most patients get into what we call ketosis. That is where the body burns exclusively fat after about 24 hours of no caloric intake. Caloric means basically any food, carbohydrate, protein, or fat. When the body is forced to start using its own reserves of fat. Now, in this 44 years that we've been practicing, or that the Hydro has been running, we have not had one single incident of mortality. We've had tens of thousands of patients, and different from even a holiday resort would have had fatalities in this state, and we haven't had it. Now, I notice what you have on the screen now about the 4 to 8 hours, the 12 hours, 16 hours, and 18 hours. But you must please bear in mind, those times are very subject to your physical activity.
Okay.
If you just lie around and do nothing, you will start burning fat after, say, 12 to 16 hours. But if you run a marathon, you start burning fat after about 2 hours.
Okay.
I have actually seen one patient here who took 5 days to really start burning fat. And most others burn fat very effectively after 3 days of fasting.
So very interesting facts and understanding our physical ability. How do we know, what that is? Could you give us some sort of example with regards to those that are being physically active and not, and what are the differences?
Right, the people who are not physically active tend not to eliminate the toxins that's released from the fat. And they often complain about headaches, insomnia, muscle pains, etc. But we have invented 40 years ago a system of what we call hydrotherapies. That is why the facility is called the Hoogland Health Hydro. Hydro is a term often used in Europe and the East for places that practice a very more intense and intensive scientific therapy than what a typical spa would do. So all my patients who want to fast, I first do a consultation, I take a blood sample, I do a very comprehensive blood analysis of about 60 different criteria. That together with daily observations of blood pressure, oxygen saturation in the blood, weight and how quickly the weight changes, these all makes the safety environment safe. Unfortunately, when we do look through the literature, you will notice some people who've actually died after 20 or 30 days of fasting. And we like to catch up on those before it happens. We believe most of that happens because the modern world in which we live contains a lot of chemical toxins, colorants, flavorants, preservatives, industrial chemicals, agricultural chemicals, and a large portion of these chemicals are not soluble in water, but they are soluble in fat. So if we get it into our cells, it goes sit in our fat. It doesn't get back into the blood because the blood is water-based.
Okay.
If, however, through fasting we break down that fat, those chemicals are forced back into the blood, and then we eliminate them primarily through the skin. And that is what hydrotherapies are all about, to activate the elimination abilities of the skin.
Let's talk about the
The
first.
skin, of course, being the biggest organ in the body.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the first day of fasting. Often when we do that, of course, we put our minds to it and we want to, be part of, this fasting therapy, and we're starting our month of Ramadan, so it's a more spiritual fasting as well. Let's look at what goes through that body, because you feel so depleted on that very first day. How do you prepare yourself better for that first day?
Yeah, the first day is a difficult time because the body is still used to using carbohydrates rather than fat. So your body first have to make the enzymes that can convert fat back into energy. And that can take up to 3 days in my experience if people are not in the habit of regular fasting. People who fast on a regular basis, and by that I mean at least a 30 to 40 hour period once a week, like what I've been doing for the past 40 years, then your body can switch into metabolism ketosis. Ketones is the way in which your body uses fat. And if you are used to that, it can switch into ketosis within a few hours. But if you're not used to it, if your poor body, it doesn't get a day of rest every week, it takes a long time to switch over from food energy to fat energy.
Okay.
Now, of course, there can be fat in the food also, but we want it to use the internal fats, the fats that is stored in your body. And every human being has enough fat for at least 40 days. But I did send you an interesting article of that man in Scotland who had absolutely no food at all for 381 days. And there's record of 385 days also. But those people obviously need certain supplements as minerals and vitamins. And even after a week or 2, 3, some people do have this problem, which is why at Hoogland we have a comprehensive medical laboratory in which I can quickly check your liver functions, your electrolytes, your heart functions, your full blood count, your insulin level, very important in diabetes, the oxygen saturation in the blood, allergy counts, a relatively comprehensive analysis that helps me guide my patients when it is no longer safe to continue a fast, or whether we need a few supplements if they wish to continue generally, I prefer to avoid supplements because supplements tend to be made in chemical factories and they're not necessarily compatible with our created natural bodies. But some people do feel very well after the third day, and typically people would call me on the second night and say, Doctor, I feel I've died. Come check if I'm still alive. And then they call me the third day and say, I'm sure I've died because now I feel so good, I must have become an angel or something. And that is a rather dramatic switch that happens when your body realizes there's not going to come any more food and that it has to rely on the fat. And when the body realizes that, it starts making enzymes. We call that lipolytic enzymes that break down the fat into energy that your body can use. Now, when the body realizes it's not going to get carbohydrate or protein, then it starts making these enzymes. But if it's not used to making these enzymes, that means if you haven't fasted a 30-hour period in the past week, then it can take up to 3 days to make enough of these enzymes to supply all your energy needs. Now, just to clarify, we all make these enzymes all the time, but in small volumes, because we keep feeding the body 2, 3, 4 times every day, it doesn't need them. Once it realizes that it needs them, it makes them. And if you use it often, then it keeps them in the background to be activated very quickly to move the fat back from the fat stores to the energy.
Okay, I want to talk about fasting and the immune system as well and how that, works together. Because at the end of the day, we are focusing during COVID-19 pandemic to also, boost our immune system. So how can we boost our immune system and still fast?
Yes, it's a very interesting thing. Bear in mind, when you eat, everything that you eat is poison. There's not a single food or a single fluid that I can inject into your blood without either harming or killing you. And that means from the time you eat it until it enters your blood through the liver, you must detoxify that food. And that means that a large portion of your immune system is occupied in fighting food, so to say. Therefore, have you noticed your child, your cat, your dog, your horse, whenever they are sick, they stop eating so that the immune system can be liberated from its work in the intestine and can focus on the germ. Unfortunately, we get brainwashed from an early age to eat when we are sick. And the reason our parents teach us that is in our instinct. We know that a sick child will not eat and a healthy child will eat. So we turn this thing around and say, if I can get the child to eat, the child will be healthy. But that is whitewashing the problem. It has been recently shown, besides for the fact that 30% of your immune system is fully occupied in the gut when you eat. So the moment you fast, you have 30% more immunity to
We are chatting to Dr.
fast.
KRUGER.
The white blood cells is replaced.
Okay.
I see we've lost the connection
Yes,
again.
just for a second.
Sorry, is the connection back?
Yes,
Right.
we're back.
It was shown that when you fast, the body removes the sick white blood cells from the blood, breaks them up and builds new white blood cells. And I've seen it also here when I do the blood count, which I routinely do on fasting patients several times during the fast, that the white cell count tends to drop and then pick up again afterwards. But that means that the white blood cells are actually renewed during the fast. Bear in mind, only about 1 out of every 1,000 white blood cells are found in the blood. The rest leaves the blood to roam around your tissues to look for trouble. It looks for cancer cells, it looks for germs, but we count them in the blood, and that's where we see them dropping and then going up again with much healthier cells. So I have not yet found a single disease that does not improve while fasting.
Wow, very interesting. Thank you so much, Dr. KRUGER. Please do stay online. We continue our Ramadan questions, fasting questions with our expert fasting doctor online. Please do send your comments, questions with regards to fasting just after this. Welcome back. This is Health Matters. Our WhatsApp line is open to your comments, questions and queries, mostly the questions around fasting. There's been quite a few questions around fasting amidst the pandemic, COVID-19 and the lockdown. People are in lockdown. Welcome back, Dr. KRUGER. Thank you so much for your time on this very special day of yours. We appreciate it once again. So just before the break, we were talking about the immunity. Let's understand that some individuals need to take small meals to keep their glucose levels, still to operate the energy levels. But for some reason during fasting, although they continue to fast and they stay without those small meals, they struggle the first 1 or 2 days in. It actually goes well later on after the next week or so. Just explain to us what is happening there with the glucose levels.
Okay, glucose levels are normally between about 5 and 8. I have measured the glucose here of 1.7.
We are chatting to Dr. KRUGER. I know that you can send your messages and questions to our fasting doctor. That's also a good website to go to, www.hoogland.co.za. For more information. He is recognized as the fasting doctor, so please do send him questions that you have with regards to fasting via that link. We do apologize, there is some technical problems on the other side with the Skype link up. Unfortunately, gremlins do take over when you just expect everything is going well. But note that we do have some very interesting comments from individuals as we took to the street and asked them about Ramadan. Take a listen.
Ramadan during this lockdown is going to be peace and harmony. It's going to be so different, a blessing in disguise. Instead of our hectic lives and the marathon that we experience on a daily basis with shopping, getting our kids to school, running around crazy, I think we're going to have a peaceful Ramadan where we can have a program for ourselves, harmony, time management, togetherness. I think we will feel and experience barakah in a very different way. I also think that we'll be more productive in terms of our ibadat, and we'll be patient with each other. This has really come at a time that we never expected. We were rushing in preparation for this Ramadan. It's so early in the year, but this has just worked out well for everybody, I think. Assalamu alaikum.
Doesn't feel like it's going to be Ramadan, and this is really going to be a sad one. Mosques are not open, no Tarawih being performed. Inshallah, this pandemic can be over soon. Allah Ta'ala make it easy for one and all this Ramadan, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Hawa Chale and I live in the small Midlands town of Howick in KwaZulu-Natal. I am also a third-year physiotherapy student at Stellenbosch University. For me, the build-up to Ramadan is one of nostalgia, excitement, and a time of new beginnings. From listening to the Tarawih broadcast live from the local masjid to spending iftar with family and friends, it is a time of love and unity. This year, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we face a state of hard lockdown. There's feelings of anxiety and uncertainty around all of us. Our masjids are now closed and the new normal is to stay at home. This year, for the first time, there won't be any Tarawih performed in the masjids for the first few nights of Ramadan. No iftar at family and friends, as we all have to social distance. But the one question that we all are now asking is, will we spend our Eid in quarantine too?
Assalamu alaikum. I think that the essence of Ramadan is to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. While the situation is not ideal, this opportunity to increase our supplication in good deeds is undeniable. Families can unite in Salah, partake of Sehri and Iftar together, which was not always possible due to conflicting working hours. Shukran.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm happy that I'm going to be spending Ramadan with my parents, but sad that I'm not going to read Tarawih in the masjid.
Assalamu alaikum. This is my second year of fasting, and I'm so happy I'm spending it at home.
Assalamu alaikum. The spirit of Ramadan will always be there, no matter what our circumstances are. As we as Muslims have full faith in the Almighty, we're not accustomed to our men not attending Tarawih Salah and Eid Namaz in Masjid, but this is a time to reflect and increase our ibadah as we have more time to do so.
A big shukran jazakallah to all those individuals who participated in our Ramadan KAREEM messages and what Ramadan is like for them. We had Ruqayya, Zahira Isop, Little Yusuf and Zuhair Daure and Rukhshana and all the others. So if you've got a message or something to say, you can send it also via our WhatsApp line. Please do that. Send your voice notes and questions with regards to Ramadan on this WhatsApp line. We also now have Elenia Kolokotronis, our nutritionist specialist online. Thank you so much, Elenia, for joining us. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
Can I give you a wave too? So good to have you back. Quickly, how are you doing and what has lockdown been like for you?
It's had its good days and its bad days.
You still having your regular tests out and about at the hospital?
No. That stopped 3 weeks ago. Everything's online now.
Okay. So let's look at Ramadan, and we love how you guide us in these sorts of times. We've just had the fasting doctor, and it's a brilliant sort of example to note that what we do as Muslims is actually practiced in a medical manner for good, in a good way. So in the interview, I asked Dr. KRUGER about our immune system, and he explains what happens to our body. Let's sort of understand how we can still increase and boost our immune system while we are fasting with the various nutritional foods. I know there's supplements around there, but what is really the good stuff?
The good stuff is from the ground or from a tree, anything that's in its natural form. So basically, GOUWAH, your immune system is your defense against anything. It's like your alarm system at home, the beans that you have and so on. It's your security. And 90% of the time, the only way to truly boost that immune system is by eating good quality foods in their most natural form. So it doesn't mean that you have to eat like a rabbit, but you do need to be very mindful of what you're eating, especially in the time of Ramadan because of the fast. So from the time that you wake up early in the morning and have your first meal to the continuation of the fast until you break fast in the evening, what you eat is vitally important, not only for your immune system, but for your entire body. So anything that is high in proteins, fibers, some kind of dairies, enough water, those are the things that matter. Anything that is industrialized does not stand you in good stead. It might make you feel fuller, but it's not ultimately the best to nourish you.
Okay, let's look at some of the grocery list items. We literally want to go in and out of the store when doing some essential shopping. What should be on our grocery list during Ramadan besides the samosas and the pies?
Fresh fruit and vegetables, natural, good, clean quality dairies, for example, organic eggs, clean milk, good quality fruit juices that are not very high in sugar. There's a new fruit juice that Ceres has brought out that's mixed with vitamin, that's mixed with mineral water. That's a good juice to drink. Anything that is clean, watermelons, there's a picture of a watermelon now. Wow. Watermelons, whole wheats, lentils, legumes, those are very good for us. Good quality breads, whole wheat breads, those are the things that are good for us. So that's what should ideally be in your trolley.
Breaking our fast, we have a beautiful tradition of doing it with, of course, a fresh fruit, but dates is always on our tables, and it's often only on our tables in the evening. What is your recommendations on having dates in the morning as well, and how many dates should we be having during Ramadan when breaking our fast and during breakfast?
Depending on the person, really, dates is always okay. Everyone's doing it. Everyone's eating it. I don't advocate anything more than 3 or 4 dates is pushing it, because during fast, when you break fast with either olives, dates, a bit of water, whatever it is, before you start your main meal for the evening, or it's usually afternoon, anything more than that is too much sugar. It's going to make you more thirsty. It's going to continuously keep you hungry and thirsty. So anything, 3, 4 dates is enough. I know that people are tempted to go 9, 10, 11, 12 dates like me. I love dates, but it's not ideal. 3, 4 dates maximum.
Take us through our breakfast menu, because some people are just not breakfast people, waking up really early in the morning before our first sunrise prayer. It's quite hard to fill our tummies with something that's going to last for the day. So what is your recommendation on our menu for breakfast that early in the morning?
A lot of personal Muslim friends of mine cannot wake up in the morning and eat. So if you are someone who struggles with that, I would suggest the smallest meal. So for example, a slice of watermelon, or a bit of apple with some peanut butter, or a bit of yogurt with a few berries on top. It doesn't have to be vast amounts of food, only because a lot of people don't have an appetite when they're waking up so early in the morning. So I don't know if I'm saying this properly, Sahur. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Please forgive me if I haven't said it right. But you do need to eat something. So these personal friends of mine always want to know what it is they should be eating. A smoothie is good. A bit of yogurt, some ice, some juice, some fruits, and there you go. Doesn't need to be extensive, heavy, heap plates of food. That's not going to stand you in good stead. Little small meals. To wake up early in the morning and eat is difficult for a lot of people, but something definitely needs to go in there. So that's a good example of what you could eat. A slice of toast with some cucumber and avo, that's also fine, but something does need to go in. A lot of people do not have an appetite so early in the morning, but something has to be eaten. Those are good examples.
So some secret immune boosters that we can hide in our smoothies for children, especially if they don't do the spinach, the raw spinach and the broccoli. What ideas? Because I know we're always promoting fresh and raw, and we can possibly hide them in the smoothies. So what is the exact amount we can sort of hide behind that delicious smoothie, strawberry smoothie?
1 spinach leaf, half a carrot, half an avo, some blueberries, some yogurt, a squeeze of honey, a little bit of ice, and you're good to go. They won't know the difference, I promise you. You can add a tablespoon of cocoa in there and I think it's chocolate smoothie. They won't know the difference. Just don't let them see you doing it.
Okay. I know my dad has this routine of breakfast, cheese and bread and a cup of coffee. And I don't know how he gets it right going throughout the day like that. Just explain what's happening to people that are having, tiny meals, very crazy cravings in the morning and not sort of sticking to something healthy.
So a coffee is what most people miss.
Yeah.
But of course, the coffee does make you more thirsty and makes you crave more caffeine. It's a stimulant at the end of the day. But I think your father sounds a lot like mine. They've been doing that for 30, 40 years every morning. I think their bodies have gotten quite used to that. Yeah. Ideally, there shouldn't be caffeine, ideally. But I mean, your father, I don't think your father's going to listen to me or to anyone else after doing it for so many years. But the general rule of thumb is you need to eat what your body can sustain you throughout the day during the fast. Caffeine isn't ideal. If you want something warm or if someone wants to drink something warm in the morning, a rooibos tea, a herbal tea, those are good ideas. A broth, a friend of mine drinks broth. She's quite anemic, so she makes a broth. She drinks that in the morning. If it's been standing him in good stead, the coffee and the cheese and bread, after all these years, he's maybe onto something. I'm going to have to look into that.
Yeah, so what is different for us that we need to consider during lockdown and COVID-19? Because of course we're not getting the fresh air of going all around. We're doing not doing our normal trips, drop-offs and pickups, while fasting. Some of us are working from home, and we're not eating on top of it. So give us some tips that will get us through not just the eating bit, but just, I think, overall wellness, to understanding that we are in lockdown, we have to protect ourselves from the virus spreading, and still being mindful that we are fasting and in a very spiritual space as well.
I think that a lot of people I've spoken to who are practicing Muslims are a bit concerned about when this is all over, when Ramadan is over, it's not going to be that social event that they were looking forward to. But I think that being in lockdown is a very good time to reflect. At the end of the day, being spiritual and doing this tradition, this beautiful ritual, is about being spiritual. And I think that takes place anywhere, really, whether you are in lockdown or not. Being in lockdown is very difficult, especially if you have a house full of kids. That's hard. But I think at the end of the day, there's always a silver lining. There's more family time. There's more time to reflect. More time to find small things that matter that you didn't see before that can keep you busy. I think to stay mentally stimulated is very important, very important. So it can be difficult to be at home all the time around food and not be able to eat it. But again, to keep yourself stimulated all the time, move away from the fridge. Try not to be in close proximity of the kitchen. There is always a positive. I mean, I started a vegetable garden that I am obsessed with.
Yeah.
Everyone started knitting. People have started, to bake. And if you're going through this time, I think it starts tomorrow for you. When you start this period, it's just another day. It's more about being spiritual. And again, I reiterate, where you're being spiritual can happen anywhere, whether you're eating 10 meals a day or whether you're doing this fast. It's just a time to reflect and just to build on that.
And unfortunately, that's where we have to leave it for now, Elenia. We will definitely keep in touch. All the best that side. And thank you so much for your time. Goodbye.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Keep well. There you have it, Elenia Kolokotronis. If you'd like to find more information about the services of Elenia, she does specialize in women and their fertility. Please visit her website, Elenia Care. We'll be back just after this. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. Our last few minutes of the show, so you have to listen to these two individuals as we took the street, our producer Mukhtar, to find out how people are feeling about this upcoming, just like literally hours away from this beautiful month of Ramadan. Take a listen.
This will be our first Ramadan observed during a pandemic which will undoubtedly bring about differences. It's not going to be easy, however. We need to take the necessary precautions by limiting our social interactions, such as performing our prayers at home. Praying Tarawih at home will be a new experience for some of us. However, it will afford us the opportunity to bring our families even closer together during this holy month.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. For me, I am going to miss the mosque a lot because I'm alone in my house. I'm the only one that fasts Ramadan. It's going to be a very difficult time without the mosque. The mosque was the center of my world during Ramadan. I'm going to really miss it. It's going to be like missing a family member. Inshallah, this blows over and we all can return to the mosque as soon as possible. I'm going to really miss the mosque because it uplifts my spirit, encouraging me to do more, increase my ibadat, and fulfilling the rights of Ramadan. Inshallah, I'll be able to do this at home, but it will not be the same again. Aminu Rabbil Alamin. May Allah bless us all and give us the tawfiq and hidayat, fulfill all the rights of Ramadan. Inshallah, carry it on after Ramadan.
Amen, inshallah. A beautiful voice note by Ahmed Saluji, and our hearts go out to all those who do find themselves being quite lonely during the month of Ramadan. Know that we're going to have a brilliant packaged program for Zamzam and Tamood every afternoon, where you will literally feel like the house is your masjid. Hasina also mentioned how Taraweeh will be the first for her, of understanding that Taraweeh will be at home in this case. So it is something that we can perform. But watch out for Zamzam and Tamood weekdays, or at least every day during the month of Ramadan. We have a jam-packed, brilliant package for you and your family, the little ones as well. Stay surprised, and you will be entertained through that show, where you won't actually miss the masajids, inshallah. But again, shukran so much for your time, and we must note that it is still lockdown time. We have to still practice safe following distance if we are going out for essential services. Social distancing still applies as long as the lockdown has been implemented. Please respect and follow what the medical professionals are telling us and our government, and let's stop the spread. Let's dent that curve right down and flatten the curve, as they say, and do follow the local programs on COVID-19 here on ITV. So it's been an absolute pleasure being with you this afternoon. Health Matters edition, usually on a Tuesday night, but we had to accommodate the President address. Health Matters Extra will be back tomorrow, same time, same place. From myself, KAREEM, and the rest of our team, wassalamu alaikum and goodbye for now.